to the programme. I mean, how shocked are you at just some of the detail with this scandal?
Well, I think it's the sheer scale of the collusion that must have gone on here. I mean, this has lasted for 6, maybe slightly longer, 6 years, maybe slightly longer, and it obviously has involved all levels within this company.
You're very experienced in this area. I mean, how does something like this happen practically?
Well, in practical terms, it depends on control and command structures within corporations. There's a parallel here in the UK with Tesco, where the need to generate profits produced a very similar outcome on a smaller scale. Here, there is this culture of absolute obedience and deference, which you don't find in many other places. So, disobeying an order from on top to falsify figures to inflate profits would be almost impossible for a Japanese executive to resist.
It's interesting you talk about a cultural difference, because is it any different to the Enrons of this world or HSBC in some of the things that have gone on at multiple layers? I mean, what is the difference that you were talking about? How different is it?
I think here it's cultural. I think in situations like Enron, and if you think of other examples over the years, that was about greed, that was about getting on, that was about a lack of any ethics. I don't think there's a lack of ethics here. There's just complete obedience and difficulty in people seeing when they're doing something wrong.
Just for those people who are watching, don't understand accounting, how
Sure.
easy or difficult is it to do this sort of thing with the books and do it for so long?
Well, it would depend exactly what has been done, but I mean, what people forget is that many people outside accounting and business imagine that accounting is a precise science. It is not. It's highly subjective. There are many ways in which figures can be changed, can be put in a different light and produce a startlingly different result.
The Japanese finance minister has been talking today about this undermining global perceptions of companies in Japan. I mean, is he right? Is there a real danger of that?
Well, these scandals pop up all over the place. It's ironic this is going on in Japan because for the past few years there's been endemic problems with accounting information coming out of China. Now it's happening in Japan. The difficulty here is that this looks at the moment like reputational damage. Reputational damage eventually becomes financial damage, and it lasts a very long time.
In what way? How does it go from reputational to real impact? Are you talking about if there were projects where they needed partners, people
Yes.
looking at Toshiba and thinking, well, perhaps I won't till that's sorted out?
It's a matter of trust, because no company is an island. It operates with complex relationships with stakeholders, partners at all levels, lenders, credit insurers, joint venture partners, governments with whom it may need to engage. If you break the trust, all of those things become more difficult. You know, a reputation takes a long time to build. It's very quickly lost.
I mean, one will see how it transpires, but even if it was the worst case scenario, if things got so bad, it would lead to the closure of the company. If you take a step back, I mean, does that really matter? If a company of that size, aside from, of course, all the people that work for Toshiba, would it matter if ultimately it led to its closure?
Well, it would for the 200,000 employees. I mean, I don't think we're looking at that here. I mean, £750 million is not exactly a spit in the bucket for Toshiba. It's a lot of money, but it doesn't threaten the company. Does it matter? In the bigger moral picture within business, and we're all very aware of how important ethics and morals are becoming to the public, maybe it does matter.
I mean, this seemed to emerge from market pressures with China, with Korea, in terms
Yes.
of its electronics arm. On top of that, because they have very large stakes in energy, the Fukushima disaster impacted as well. In terms of trying to find a way out of all of that, I mean, is there a clear way out? I mean, what do you have to do? Do you have to rid many, many more executives from the company? I mean, how do you root it all out?
It's going to be particularly difficult. Getting rid of 8 senior executives won't do that. It's got to be a culture change. It will certainly need a lot of external input, a lot of people who are not touched by that culture to come in and say, you know, you have to do things differently, you have to be open, and you have to almost encourage a whistleblowing culture. Very difficult, though, in that sort of corporation, in that environment.